This is the Cheese Wedge, a Tier 8 premium Chinese tank destroyer known as the WZ-121GFT. This vehicle, when it was first released into the game, was considered by many to be a completely overpowered tank, and yeah, it definitely was, for a couple reasons. First of all, it has great mobility. This is essentially a Type 59, just without a turret and a much better gun, so it can go 50 kilometers per hour and 20 in reverse. Not only that, but it can turn at 54 degrees a second, which is insane. This is way before any of the other tank destroyers got massive traverse speed buffs. The gun has fantastic DPM with 2,900. It's got really good penetration, 400 damage per shot, good accuracy, great aiming time. So all the stats about the gun when it comes to this vehicle are fantastic. And then you arrive at the armor. And because this thing's just a massive wedge, the entire upper plate's around 220-ish millimeters thick on flat, and once you start to angle it or use slight gun depression, it can go upwards of 240 to 260, making it very hard for standard and sometimes even premium ammo to cut through the vehicle. When you add all these things together, it's a tank destroyer that almost has no downsides. However, Wargaming decided to buff the hit points of all the Tier 8 heavies, maybe after about 6 months of this vehicle's release. And when they did that, this vehicle's very small 1100 hit points got completely left into the dust when you compare it to vehicles like the Tiger II, which now have 1850 hit points, 1900 hit points, things like that. Now the WZ went from being able to 3-4 shot tier, 8 heavies to now having to shoot 5 or 6 shells. And that is where the tank starts to fall apart, because you can't really drive it that aggressive anymore, judging the fact that well, even if your armor does work every now and then, you just don't have the HP to really take shots. 3 shells from a 400 damage per shot gun, and this tank's dead. And that's it! 3 shots! So, yeah, it dies pretty quickly. Now, this first battle here, we are going to chill up on Castilla Hill. Kind of rhymes. Up against us, we have a Tiger 1-2 VK4503s, and that's actually just about it for heavies. The reason I'm going to wait here early game is we've got plenty of mobility to go over towards A side if we want to, but I feel like it would be a little bit helpful to get an idea of where the enemy team's going. For example, we can see the VK45, and just like that, oof, that VK got turned into potato. I mean, yeah, that guy did not enjoy life all too much. So just like that, the enemy VK is already dead. At this point, because that player's a goner, I'm going to use the mobility this vehicle has to try and make my way behind the charioteer. I don't know if the rest of the enemy team's over here, but I feel like we can get a pretty decent chunk of damage into them. So let's aim it on the SU-130. I'm not going to bother with HE, to be real. I don't really think it's mandatory to shoot an HE shell into his vehicle, especially because the SU-130 is already dead. So just like this, we've been able to clear 2 vehicles on the enemy team. I'm pretty lucky I was able to spot that SU-130 because that was actually a pretty nasty spot he was sitting on. We just got lucky that he didn't really back out of the spot. So I'm not seeing all too much over here. We're behind the charioteer, obviously. This player is a little oblivious to us, so we're gonna HE his side. Oh yeah, 520 damage into the charioteer. We're gonna use that 20 reverse. My teammate misses the shell, which is fine with me, because we're gonna HE him again for another 290 damage. Just like that, we have already been able to annihilate the enemy. We're up to 1500 damage, and this is, a win. We can already see that very clearly. So, Tiger 1 looks like he's going to die to the Canonin and the VK45 we have in our spawn. So I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to try and make my way more towards mid, where we've got the 1390 who's fighting the Bulldog, and the VK4503. Looks like the 1390 is going to probably kill our Bulldog in the next couple of seconds. Oh, never mind. I was able to get the shell out fast enough and save our Bulldog. Okay, well, that's actually pretty lucky. Let's keep on going. We got the Semovente on our side over here. You can see this takes very solid aiming time once you stop moving, and yeah, it's not too bad at all. So we got one nice shell into the enemy Semovente, takes 600 off of the fire, and look at that fantastic pen while loading heat. I mean, that is absolutely insane, and it's one of the major reasons why I run Cali on this tank, is because when you get in a situation like this where you can load and heat ammunition, I mean, the vehicle just butters through armor with no problem whatsoever. So at this point, because I like my damage, I'm going to ignore that Semovente, especially because he's stuck in the water, and we're going to head up top of the hill to kill the VK. There you go. WZ-110 finishes him off as it is. This is one of the ways I always get damage. I mean, in a battle like this, we obviously are going to win. And I know that if I waste my time on that SMV, then I'm probably not going to be able to spend time shooting this VK. And it's not like it hurts my team if I kill that guy later. So I usually just go for damage at this time frame, and then I do other stuff after. So there you go. Nice shot into the VK-45. We were able to deal 3,500 damage in this first battle, which is a pretty solid amount, you can imagine. The WZ-120 is just such a fantastic vehicle because of, I mean, everything. As I said, the mobility, the DPM, the pen, everything about the gun is just absolutely fantastic. So even though we only got a second class, we were still able to make 151,000 credits, because it is a premium after all. And yeah, not a bad first battle. Let's do one more. The thing about the WZ-120 is that originally this was an incredible tank, and while it still is a very solid vehicle, it has definitely fallen very far from what it used to be. And the major reason I would say is power creep. A tank that only has 1100 health against vehicles that are constantly getting deadlier and deadlier guns in the tier doesn't really feel that strong anymore. Like, for example, a Barask can deal 600 and what, like 60 damage? Or no, it's 640 damage in a matter of 2.5 seconds. And that is insane when you think about it. I mean, there's really no counter to that even in a vehicle like this. And when you only have 1100 health, it means that a Barask can literally take off half of your health in a matter of time that you can't even really do anything about. So that's where I always say this tank falls apart a bit, is that it used to be super, super good frontline. But after Wargaming has just kept buffing everything in Tier 8 and changing all the tanks in Tier 8, this tank is really no longer a frontline vehicle. It's more of a midline tank. There you go. Good example. KV-4 cuts right through our armor, which obviously takes a pretty solid chunk off of our vehicle. Now, to be fair, we get a nice shot back, but like, I don't even know how that pens, to be fair. He's got the stock gun, which is kind of annoying. But either way, we do take about 800 health off of him because we have very solid DPM. We got the STA camping in the back, and maybe we can get another shot into the KV-4 possibly. We'll see if he drives on up, but it doesn't look like that's actually going to happen. Possibly we can get a shell into the STA. Nope. Unfortunate. Okay, we also got the VK-45 over here. Maybe we can get a shell into the VK. Turning and aiming. Oh, he's like at the worst possible angle for us. But we are still able to cram a shell right into the side of his vehicle. Now we're going to back up. Looks like we are not able to get another shell out into his tank as of yet. Okay. Well, KV-4 is not much of a threat. The Tiger is, but I think hauled down our armor should be good enough that a Tiger will struggle to pen us. So we're just going to rush right on over here, and I'm surprised that actually didn't pen. I would think that, you know, TD levels of pen would be enough to cut through a Tiger 1 gun mantlet, but I guess not. Okay, well, we got the VK off to the side, who I can't really do too much about right now, but we're going to drive right on over, finish off the VK because he's not looking at me. Then, the Tiger's right in front of us, and our AMX is going to get some nice shells in. Let's reload, get a nice shell ourselves into the enemy Tiger, and our teammate finishes him off. Okay, not too bad. So at this point, we got the Semovente left. The STA-1 is still alive, most likely camping in the back, which I do have to be a bit worried about still, and the KV-4, which is a one-shot, is also still alive. I'm going to cut wide. Hopefully the STA doesn't spot us, but I don't think he will. We're going to go back over here, see if we can get any spots out. There's the KV-4. If this player makes any more of an aggression, he's going to regret it, and wow. Wow, okay. Okay. That made literally zero sense. Like, that made such little sense, I have no clue what just happened there. But thankfully, we were still able to finish off that player. I'm legit so confused on what just happened there. Alright, let's back up so the T-28 doesn't hit us. He shot. We obviously have very good pen, which means if we actually hit him, we can deal some decent damage. Unfortunately, you can see the on-movement dispersion of this tank is pretty poor. There's a lot of people that always try to say, like, oh, TDs don't need to worry about on-movement dispersion. They don't have a turret. Incorrect. Whenever you turn your tank, or anything of that matter, your gun is going to bloom. Like, look, you can see my gun blooms when I turn the vehicle. Duh. So, on-movement dispersion is you moving the gun. It doesn't matter if it's the tank moving, or you actually moving the gun itself. It's still both on-movement dispersion. Which means when you turn the vehicle, it gets affected by it. For some reason, people don't understand that. Alright, well, there you go. Nice shot into the enemy SMV. Able to bring him down a little bit of health, and now the AMX is going to shoot him, which is going to bring him down even more health. Now the SMV is going to look at the AMX. That's also a stock SMV, I've noticed, which is good for us. Alright, I think the best thing to do... Oh, well, for SMV is just going to do that. I'm just going to aim it on the side of his turret. There you go. Nice 376 damage. Okay, good. Alright, we got the T-28 off to the side as well. The T-28 is a very, very nasty TD, because obviously it has super, super good armor, and it's also got very nasty alpha. But it's not too much of a worry when that player just bled almost all of his health. Oh my god, I thought that VK turret was moving on its own, but it turns out it was just the tank being dead. Alright, clearly this T-28 is just lost, because I don't even know what he's doing. Either way, this is clearly a win at this point. The enemy SMV is not much of a threat. He does deal 300 damage, but we're just going to load a premium shell and finish him off. So, good job from the AMX. I'll give him credit. He actually got some decent chunks out, and we were able to deal 4k. You'll notice that this game we played a lot more passive, tried not to bleed any health, and that worked out pretty well. We did 4,200, assisted 300, and got a first class while getting 200,000 credits. So, at the end of the day, the WZ-121 GFT is a very solid tank destroyer. It's not a vehicle I would say that is like the most broken anymore or even incredible. I would just say it's a very solid tank destroyer. I definitely wouldn't spend any more than like 15 bucks on a vehicle like this because it's not worth anything more. But if you get it, it's a fun tank. It's got great alpha. It's got fun characteristics like mobility, armor. It's just a great vehicle. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.